What's going on, everybody? It's Cash Sports. Right back at you again. I'm Cash. Y'all already know what it is. It's Cash Sports Podcast. If y'all tuning in, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I know y'all see that Cash App at the bottom if y'all would so graciously donate. But it is optional because me just sitting here talking to y'all is free. Right? So let me get straight into it. I want to take a different angle here today with this recording. And so it's going to be a little bit serious. So I'm going to speak from a very somewhat educated and very analytical point of view, and also somewhat logical, right? So I know a lot of people are familiar with the Brittney Griner situation with her in Russia. And her going through the trial and being detained over there with a lot of political stuff going on. I mean, we don't really have to sugarcoat things, but there's a war going on between Russia and Ukraine, right? And so Brittney Griner managed to be stuck in the middle between what was going on. So the facts that had came out was that in the process of her trying to leave, she was detained and caught with what I believe weed oil, something within that nature, right? So she was detained, and so a country like Russia that is illegal to have in a country like Russia, illegal, right? And so they detained her, as not just because she's an American, but simply because of the fact that she had an illegal substance. It made it easier for them because she's like, I think like 6'8", 6'9". So it's it's pretty hard. It's pretty easy to catch a culprit like that. You can't really hide in a place like that, right? So she was detained, and that's when the news broke out. So everything became crazy. That's when the news started coming out about her being detained in Russia, and things started to get a little bit crazier from there, right? So this is where my opinion starts to come in. All right, and so I do want to be very sensitive about this topic also, because one, I do want Brittney Griner to come home to her loving family and her loved ones. But I gotta speak from this point of view, right? Because I'm gonna give you guys a little bit background into myself. I am a veteran. That's somebody that served in the United States military, so I am somewhat familiar with rules and policies when it pertains to traveling to other countries and just abiding by certain rules and guidelines. So the thing about it is, right, when you travel to all these different places and all these different countries, we get briefed, right? Everybody's familiar with a brief. It's like almost like a PowerPoint. Like they're giving you lessons on what to do and what not to do when you enter a country, right? So you get briefed on the country's guidelines, and from that point on, you choose to accept the consequences from there, because the United States military will not hold you accountable for certain actions that you do. Now, more likely than not, the U.S. or the U.S. military will try to get you back if it's within their power. But if they can't, which is something I have seen before, right? There are situations where a veteran or an active duty member gets detained and they cannot leave the country, right? This happens all the time. Situations like this do occur, right? So that particular military member cannot leave the country. They will go through the judicial procedure of that country in which they are detained in. So it just so happens that, unfortunately, Brittney Griner was detained in a country like Russia, right? And so we can talk about all these rules and it's not fair and this and that. I mean, hey, try going to Singapore. You want to talk about rules? You want to talk about crazy rules? Go to Singapore or look at Singapore's laws. There came a certain point in time you couldn't even chew gum. Can you believe that? You couldn't even chew gum in that country. You can't show the bottom of your feet. I mean, shoot. Pornography is illegal. I know there's a lot of y'all who will be serving 25 to life on that count alone. Right? So but in all seriousness though, but that just goes to show you certain guidelines and certain situations and certain rules that a person, no matter if you're NBA, WNBA, NFL, you have to be extremely aware of your surroundings. Not just in America, but in other countries. Right? And so the biggest thing that a lot of people should kind of take from this, right, is the fact that when you're going to different countries, everybody should feel somewhat, you shouldn't take for granted the rules and the rights that we have in America. You guys get where I'm coming from with this? Now, I'm not like, some grade A veteran where I'm like, okay, I'm United States flag to the core. No, I am not that guy. I did my time. I did what I have to do, and then I'm out, right? I bounce. But we get so accustomed, we get so used to the guidelines and the rules here that we become oblivious to what goes on in other parts of the world. We don't understand that the rights here that we have in America are simply not the same when it comes to other countries. The United States and Russia are two completely different countries. And so reasons like this, right, is why you should value your American rights as much as possible. Because everybody here can complain about this and that. I mean, look, even me sitting here talking to you guys is a freedom and a liberty that not a lot of people around the world even have. What I'm doing right now and talking to you guys in other places in other countries, that gets you killed. For me to sit here and talk to you guys about certain information and just about the Brittney Griner situation alone, that is a serious offense in other countries. Right? So that just goes to show that a lot of these countries don't value our rights, right? And you hear that a lot. You hear people say that, it's my right. It's my God-given right. Well, I'm sorry, honey. Your rights do not apply in those other places. It just doesn't fly. And so this is a very delicate, very sensitive situation with the Brittney Griner situation. And so I do hope that she does find a way to get home. I do. And so now with this situation, it's like with America and Russia, it's almost at a crossroads, because in order for Brittney Griner to come home. Russia is asking for an international arms dealer in return. A guy who is potentially a murderer. A guy who is potentially, kills people or has an influence on certain things in that area. Y'all get what I'm trying to say, right? So I'm not saying that the deal should or shouldn't go down. I'm not talking about that. That's not my right to say they should make the deal or not. I'm not saying that. Like I said, I want Brittney Griner to come home. But I just want people to at least watch this and understand that the things that we do every day, and though we take it for granted, cherish those little things. Cherish the small things. And realize, you know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful for where I am. I'm grateful that I'm in a place and in a country where I have the liberty to do what I want and say what I want. And shit, I'm in a place where I can smoke some weed. Can't do that in Russia, but you can definitely do it here in California where it's legal, right? And so if and when Brittney Griner, right, comes home, I hope she is met with open arms and with her family. But that is my take on the Brittney Griner situation. So it is crazy, but like I said, man, you can't just go to any place and think America's laws apply to all these other places, because we already know how they get down in the Middle East. God knows, what they're like in North Korea. Somebody stole a flag and they tortured that man for nearly a decade. So yeah, sad situation, man. Very sad situation, especially when you're a political prisoner. It is a very, very tough situation. So that concludes my take in this episode of Cash Sports. I hope you guys learned from this video. And if you guys are watching this, please like and subscribe to the channel. I know y'all see that Cash App at the bottom, but it is optional, right? But I'm here. I'm talking to you guys because I love talking to you guys, right? And so, like I said, to end the note, I do wish that Brittney Griner does see her family again. But in the meantime, I'm gonna close it out right here. I'm gonna wish you guys a good night. Peace. And have a wonderful time.